sales, there was a shortage of standard lets, and those that did come on the market were often larger properties which were actually up for sale, rented out while waiting for a buyer. Of course, there was the possibility of moving back to Skipton, but that would mean moving back in with his mother, and while he loved her dearly, she fussed over him too much. When he'd told her he was relocating to Bruncliffe, all of 15 miles to the north, she'd gone into a panic, warning him how folk over there were different. He couldn't go running back with his tail between his legs, which meant, if he was to improve his lot, he needed money so he could afford a better flat, which meant he needed a promotion. Hence the initiative he was currently showing. He took a step into his boss's office, grip still tight on the door handle, anchoring him on the right side of the law. For now. Vertical blinds on the small window opposite sliced the bright light of the day across the empty desk. Mr. Taylor in tuxedo and his wife in long dress smiling out from behind bars of sunshine in the sole photograph adorning its surface. A couple of certificates and awards decorated the wall behind, and to one side the large metal filing cabinet that was the motive for Stuart's trespass. Another glance at his watch. Another minute had passed while he dithered. One more deep breath, and Stuart Lister crossed the floor in quick steps, long legs covering the distance to the filing cabinet in seconds. The key. That's what he needed first. Picking up the pot that contained the flourishing peace lily which resided on top of the cabinet, he took the small silver key from the plastic saucer beneath it. The worst-kept secret in the estate agency's history. Having once lost the key and having had to fork out a fair amount to the local locksmith to get access to his private papers, Bernard Taylor had decided to keep a second one in the office. His employees weren't supposed to know about it, but Julie had discovered it when watering the plant one day and had mentioned it to Stuart in passing as an example of how tight their boss was, risking security for the sake of calling out a locksmith again. And now, here he was, Stuart Lister, about to break the law with it. Before he could change his mind, he unlocked the filing cabinet and pulled open the top drawer. Financial accounts, payroll info, VAT records. Stuart flicked through the tabs on the dark green suspension files, nothing of interest catching his eye. He eased the drawer closed, wincing as it screeched on its runners. A panicked glance over his shoulder to the reception area, checking there was no one to witness his wrongdoing. He turned back to the cabinet, opened the second drawer. Personnel files, along with information packs on employment law, health and safety regulations, insurance, and a raft of other documents. Half of the contents, Stuart suspected, were probably already obsolete, revised versions easily available online. He moved on to the third drawer. More out-of-date material, this time old brochures and flyers for the business, along with printed specs from an age when digital house selling hadn't been an option. Impatience overriding his nerves, he bent down to the fourth drawer and knew straight away from the weight of it that this one was different. Bingo. A drawer full of fat files. The first section held what he was after. 8 folders, neatly arranged, documenting the more expensive rentals handled by tailors, the ones Stuart wasn't trusted to manage. Before his conscience could interfere, he scooped them up, closed the drawer, and turned towards the reception. And through the large windows either side of the front door, he saw the stout figure of Bernard Taylor crossing the cobbles of the market square. He was early. There was no time to get the files back where they belonged without being caught. Frozen in the doorway of his boss's office, forbidden folders clutched to his chest, Stuart Lister felt his heart start to thunder. Funerals were generally good for business. It was a fact that Troy Murgatroyd, landlord of the Fleece, never admitted to anyone, but had long observed in a lifetime spent behind a bar. Folk came in from the cold needing a bit of cheer, because the graveyard could be a bitter place, even in the late spring if a northerly was blowing down the dale, and the pub was the perfect place to find it. A fire in the grate, the company of good friends, and a fine spread laid out by his wife in the back room, all conspired to keep them chatting.